215 episodes, 9 seasons. At its peak, 26 million viewers every Friday night parked on their couches as part of the most dominant family programming block in television history. Family Matters wasn't just a sitcom, it was a ritual. A Friday night institution on ABC's TGIF lineup that helped define what an entire generation of American families did together at the end of the week. And then the show got stolen, not by a rival network, not by a scheduling disaster, by a character who was never supposed to come back after his first episode. A scrawny, suspender-wearing, nasally voiced kid named Steve Urkel walked through the Winslow's front door in episode 12, and the family whose name was literally in the title never got their show back. The original cast was sidelined. A child actress was erased from existence without explanation. The show's own matriarch nearly came to blows with its new star on set. And a grounded family comedy about a black middle-class household in Chicago slowly mutated into a sci-fi slapstick universe with cloning machines, jetpacks, and transformation chambers because one character's popularity became an addiction the network couldn't quit. This is the rise, the slow hijacking, and the messy unraveling of Family Matters. If you grew up watching TGIF on Friday nights, or if you ever wondered what happened to the youngest Winslow kid, hit that like button and subscribe. Before Family Matters, there's Perfect Strangers. Buried in its ensemble is a character named Harriet Winslow, the elevator operator at the Chicago Chronicle. She's played by Jo Marie Payton, a stage-trained actress from Albany, Georgia, who'd relocated to Florida as a teen and spent years grinding through theater and small TV roles. She has a young daughter. She's living in an apartment. She's praying literally, on her knees in church for something to break. Peyton's Harriet is so magnetic that ABC's producers Thomas L. Miller and Robert L. Boyett decide she deserves her own show. They bring in writers William Bickley and Michael Warren to build a sitcom around her home life. Here's how spin-offs actually work in network television. You plant a character inside an existing hit, let audiences fall in love with them, then lift them out and build a new world around them. The network already knows the character works. They already know an audience exists. What they're buying is a proof of concept with built-in viewership. The concept is simple. Harriet goes home. She has a husband, Carl Winslow, a Chicago police officer played by Reginald VelJohnson, fresh off Die Hard. They have 3 kids, Eddie, the eldest, Laura, the smart middle child, and Judy, the youngest, tart-tongued and adorable. Carl's mother, Estelle, moves in. Harriet's widowed sister, Rachel, and her baby son, Richie, are already in the house. A full, warm, chaotic household. Family Matters premieres on September 22, 1989, Friday night, 8 p.m. ABC's TGIF lineup. And for the first 11 episodes, it's exactly what it was designed to be. A grounded family sitcom about a black middle-class household navigating everyday life. Gun violence, school struggles, family dysfunction, all wrapped in humor and moral lessons. The reviews are mixed. Some critics call it generic, standard-issue sitcom material. The ratings are middling. Ranked 39th for the season with about 22 million viewers. Solid enough to survive, but nobody's calling it a phenomenon. And then episode 12 happens. The episode is called Laura's First Date. Laura needs a date for a school dance. Carl calls a colleague to set her up with the colleague's son. The door opens, and in walks a 12-year-old kid named Jaleel White, wearing suspenders hiked up to his chest, giant glasses sliding down his nose, speaking in a nasal whine that would become one of the most recognizable voices in television. Did I do that? Steve Urkel was written as a one-episode guest appearance. One and done. A quirky neighbor kid who shows up, causes some chaos, gets some laughs, and disappears forever. That was the plan. The studio audience loses its mind. Here's the thing about Jaleel White. He's not some unknown kid. By 12, he's already a working actor. He'd auditioned for the role of Rudy Huxtable on The Cosby Show at age 3, yes 3, and made it to the final round before the part went to Keshia Knight Pulliam. The kid knows how to work a room, and when he unleashes Steve Urkel for the first time, the producers know immediately this kid is coming back. Just think about how different television would look if White had landed that Cosby audition. There's no Steve Urkel. There's no TGIF as we know it. Family Matters probably gets canceled after 2 seasons. One casting director's gut call. An entire decade of Friday night television hangs on it. By the back 9 of season 1, Urkel is appearing in every episode. The producers tell the cast directly the dynamic is going to change. As Peyton would later recall, "We were told by our executive producers. We said, okay, we were all happy to be working. But beneath the professional acceptance, something is shifting. The show that was built around Harriet Winslow is starting to orbit around the neighbor's kid. And that decision, the one that looks like pure genius in 1990, would come back to haunt everyone involved." Season 2 premieres on September 21st, 1990, and Steve Urkel is upgraded from guest star to series regular. The results are immediate and staggering. Family Matters rockets from 39th place to 15th in the Nielsen rankings. Viewership jumps from 22 million to over 26 million per episode. In one season, the show gains 4 million viewers. The catchphrase, "Did I do that?" enters the cultural lexicon. Urkel's face appears on lunchboxes, t-shirts, cereal boxes. There's literally a Steve Urkel cereal called Urkel Oz. A January 1991 Los Angeles Times headline asks, "Is Uncool Urkel the 90s answer to the Fonz?"
That Fonz comparison isn't just lazy journalism, it's a prophecy.
Because what happened to Happy Days, where a cool supporting character swallowed the show whole, is about to happen to Family Matters in almost the exact same way. Except this time, it's not just the screen time that shifts. It's the entire DNA of the show. Seasons 2 and 3 are the creative sweet spot. Urkel drives the comedy, but the Winslows still have their own stories. Carl teaching Steve to drive, Laura navigating high school, Mother Winslow dropping wisdom. The show tackles gun violence, racism, bullying while still landing jokes. Season 3 ranks 27th with 21.6 million viewers. Jaleel White wins the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Youth Actor/Actress. The show even gets a Primetime Emmy nomination for visual effects on a family sitcom. By season 4, Urkel isn't just the most popular character on Family Matters. He crosses over to Full House. He's referenced on Boy Meets World. He's a cultural institution. The producers lean into what's working. But leaning into Urkel means leaning away from the Winslows. And the first casualty is the smallest. After season 4, 13-year-old Jamie Foxworth is fired from Family Matters. Her character, Judy Winslow, the youngest of 3 Winslow children, simply vanishes. She isn't written off. She isn't killed off. She isn't sent to live with a relative or shipped off to boarding school. She just stops existing. The remaining characters never mention her again. Her parents, Carl and Harriet, simply act as if they only ever had 2 children. Co-creator William Bickley would later admit the approach was denial. His exact strategy, hoping the audience wouldn't notice. They noticed. Here's why this matters beyond the obvious cruelty of firing a child actress with no warning and no on-screen explanation. Judy's erasure is the clearest possible evidence of what Urkel's dominance was doing to the show's ecosystem. As White himself would later acknowledge, by season 4 the producers didn't feel like they needed the character. She's not adding to the storylines, so they let it go. But Judy wasn't failing to add to storylines. She was never given storylines to begin with. In 4 seasons on the show, Judy Winslow was never handed a single A plot. She existed in one-liners and reaction shots. She was starved of oxygen, and then fired for not breathing. Bickley maintained it was a budget consideration. White, years later on The Breakfast Club, pointed to other factors, including what he described as behind-the-scenes dynamics involving Foxworth's mother. Darius McCrary, who played Eddie, offered a more sympathetic take, suggesting the adults around Foxworth didn't navigate the politics of the show as effectively as others did. "It's a trip, man. How none of us could do anything to save her," McCrary said. What happened to Foxworth after Family Matters is one of the grimmer child actor stories. No acting work. A music group with her sisters that flopped. Financial difficulty. The adult film industry in her early 20s. Substance abuse. Depression. Celebrity rehab in 2008. A turning point in 2009 when she became a mother, which she credits with saving her life. When Entertainment Weekly organized a cast reunion photo shoot in 2017, Foxworth wasn't invited, wasn't even contacted. Peyton has said she'd only consider a reboot under one condition. The very first episode has to be that Judy comes down those stairs. And this very thing that was making the show special, it would eventually become its biggest problem. Because once the producers discovered that Urkel drove ratings, they did what network television always does with a winning formula, they pushed it until it broke. Season 5 introduces the Transformation Chamber, a machine that literally transforms Urkel into Stefan Urquell, a suave alter ego played by White without the glasses or the voice. It's clever the first time. By the fourth, it's the show admitting it doesn't know what to do with its own main character except turn him into a different person. Then comes the cloning. The jetpack. The Urkpad, a teleportation device. Time travel. A grounded family drama is now running episodes where a teenager builds functional cloning technology in his basement. The ratings tell the story in cold numbers. Season 4, ranked 32nd, 20,008 million viewers. Season 5, 30th, 20,007 million. Season 6, 34th, 18,004 million, an 11% drop. Season 7, 42nd, 17 million. Season 8, 50th, 14 million. Each season, another step down the staircase. From peak to Season 8, the show loses nearly half its audience, dropping from 26.4 million to 14 million viewers. Here's the thing most people don't understand about how network scheduling and lineup management actually work. A show doesn't just live or die on its own merits. It lives or dies based on the block it anchors. TGIF was a programming block, a curated sequence of family comedies designed to flow one into the next. Family Matters' job wasn't just to deliver its own numbers, it was to deliver a lead in audience to the next show in the lineup. When Family Matters starts hemorrhaging viewers, it's not just one show declining, it's threatening the structural integrity of the entire Friday night strategy. That's when networks start making desperate moves. And Family Matters wasn't alone. Step by Step, another Miller-Boyett production, was going through a nearly identical decline, the twin patient in the same emergency room. Remember that Fonz comparison from 1991? Here's where it becomes prophecy. Happy Days ran for 11 seasons, and by the end, Fonzie literally jumped over a shark on water skis, giving television its most famous metaphor for creative decline. Family Matters does the same thing, except instead of a shark, it's a transformation chamber. The mechanism is different. The pattern is identical. Behind the scenes, cast tensions are building. Multiple actors have spoken about the growing difficulty of working alongside White, whose rapid rise to stardom at such a young age created what Peyton described as a situation where he was allowed by the adults around him to run wild, do whatever he wanted, hurt people's feelings. White, for his part, has said he didn't feel welcome to the cast at all when he first arrived, and that they kind of had to accept that I was there. In early 1997, the bottom falls out. Tensions between Miller-Boyett Productions and ABC's new corporate parent, Disney, which had acquired the network in 1996, reach a breaking point. Miller-Boyett doesn't believe they'll be a priority under Disney's ownership. CBS swoops in with a $40 million deal to acquire both Family Matters and Step by Step for a new Friday night lineup called the CBS Block Party, scheduled directly against ABC's TGIF. The network is essentially buying two wounded shows and pointing them at the lineup that made them famous. Jo Marie Payton's contract has just expired. She's exhausted. She believes the show jumped the shark years ago, but she agrees to come back for half the season 8 episodes to keep continuity during the network transition. She negotiates an option out, and this decision would come back to haunt everyone involved. Season 9 premieres on CBS on September 19, 1997, ranked alongside Migo and Step by Step in the Block Party. Migo dies after 6 weeks. CBS panics and replaces it with Kids Say the Darndest Things, which, because of its child-focused audience, gets slotted into Family Matters' original 8 p.m. time slot. Family Matters gets bumped an hour later. The ratings crater further. And then comes the incident. Episode 10 of Season 9. Original Gangsta Dog. White is playing Ogd, Urkel's gangster cousin. During filming, he pushes to include material that Peyton says violates broadcast standards and practices. She objects. According to Peyton's later account to Entertainment Tonight, she walked off, and White made a remark behind her. McCrary told her White said she must want to melee. Peyton asked what that meant. McCrary said a fight. Peyton turned around. If he want to fight, I would. Darius grabbed me. I was gonna whip his behind. McCrary had to physically separate them. Peyton exercises her option out. She appears in one more episode, a Christmas special, and she's gone. The show recasts Harriet Winslow with Judy and Elder for the remaining 8 episodes. The woman whose character this entire show was built around, the elevator operator from Perfect Strangers, whose charm launched a 9-year franchise, is replaced without ceremony. CBS cancels Family Matters, Step by Step, and the rest of the block party in spring 1998. The remaining episodes are burned off over the summer, airing sporadically with a 5-month gap between January and July. The series finale airs on July 17, 1998. Steve and Laura get engaged. Carl gets promoted to captain. The family gathers in the living room. It should feel like a celebration. Instead, it feels like a show that ran out of reasons to exist but couldn't find the door. The show that made 26 million people tune in every Friday night goes out in the dead of summer, on a network that wasn't its home, with a different actress playing its original lead. Ranked 99th in the Nielsen's. 8 million viewers. An ugly way to end it. Reginald VelJohnson continued working steadily, though Carl Winslow remains his most iconic role alongside Sergeant Al Powell in Die Hard. Jaleel White spent years trying to escape the Urkel shadow Dancing with the Stars in 2012, a cannabis brand called It's Purple, various TV roles, and a memoir. He's been candid about the complicated legacy of being defined by a character so famous it consumed the show, the cast, and arguably his own career. In 2017, Peyton said she and White had a long talk and reconciled. Peyton pivoted to voice acting, landing Sugar Mama on Disney's The Proud Family, a role she reprised for the Disney Plus revival, earning a NAACP Image Award nomination. She dropped a jazz album. She remains outspoken about family matters with a mix of pride and clear-eyed frustration. Kelly Shaneen Williams stepped back from acting. Darius McCrary continued in film and TV. Bryton James, who played Little Richie Crawford, became Devin Hamilton on The Young and the Restless, a role he's held since 2004. That's the direct line. From a toddler on a TGIF sitcom to a 2-decade run on daytime television's most iconic soap opera. Michelle Thomas, who played Myra Monkhouse, passed away on December 22, 1998, 5 months after the finale. She was 30. Stomach cancer. Rosetta Lenoir, beloved as Mother Winslow, passed in 2002 at 91. Family Matters proved something that television executives have been terrified of and addicted to in equal measure ever since. A single breakout character can save a show and destroy it at the same time. The Fonz did it to Happy Days. Urkel did it to Family Matters. It's the same pattern, the same institutional failure, playing out across decades. Both shows took a grounded premise and fed it to a character who became bigger than the concept. Both shows chose short-term ratings over long-term creative health. And both shows ended as fundamentally different programs than the ones that premiered. But here's something nobody talks about. Watch the first season of Family Matters, just the first 11 episodes before Urkel arrives, and what you see is one of the most naturalistic, well-observed portrayals of black middle-class family life that American network television had produced up to that point. The show doesn't announce it. It doesn't make speeches about it. It just presents the Winslows as a family complicated, loving, struggling, laughing, and takes their ordinariness for granted. That quiet radicalism is what the original show was doing, and it's the thing that got sacrificed on the altar of Did I Do That? Family Matters ran for 215 episodes. It made Jaleel White a household name and Steve Urkel a permanent fixture in American pop culture. It launched at least one career that's still thriving in Bryton James. It gave us one of the most complete case studies in television history of what happens when a network lets a breakout character consume a show's identity. And it erased a child, literally retconned a daughter out of existence because her screen time wasn't worth the budget line once the nerd next door moved in. A show called Family Matters ended with most of its original family gone, and the only character who mattered was the one who was never supposed to be there in the first place. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give the video a like and subscribe for more retro TV deep dives. Thanks for watching.